Hello everybody and welcome to the Homestead's Facebook page and YouTube channel. Today I went outside and I pruned my fruit trees. As you can see, I've got a big pile of branches here, and from those branches I've selected what I thought were the most likely to survive if I tried to create some cuttings. So on the right of the pots you can see there's 3 apple trees there that hopefully will turn into trees, and on the left there's pears, and here are some plums. So basically the way I go about selecting is I like to try to use the tips of the branches, as they generally have some buds at the top, and those will hopefully turn into leads that will grow straight, instead of taking the middle of the branch where the branches are growing out of the side like that. In the middle there you can see I try to take the tips. Another tip I'm going to give you is try to select branches that have some clearly the buds are alive. As you can see there, you can see they're brown and they're formed, and you can almost see a little bit of green in between. I like mine to be 6, 7, 8 inches, something along those lines, and I try to find branches where there's an equivalent amount of buds on the top and the bottom if I were to divide them in half, because when I put them into the soil I like them to be about halfway into the soil. So what I'm using today is just some potting soil, some root stimulator, and these biodegradable pots that once I have applied the root stimulator, basically I'll go along and sorry, focus in here. I'll go along and I'll take the buds and I'll scrape them right down to the branch. So all of these will be scraped right down to the branch. Maybe I'll just pause it and I'll show you that process. Okay, so you can see where I've removed the buds. I've left them on the table so that you know what I'm talking about. You can see the green spots on the stalk where I've removed the buds, and then up above, about halfway, a little less than halfway maybe on these ones, I have left the buds that are starting to protrude from these branches. Okay, the next step here is basically you take the stalk, you put it in the root stimulator, and you're going to want to cover it all the way up to the last bud, that you've torn off, that you've ripped off. So that one will come right up, the stimulator, the liquid form that I have will come right up to here, a little past. So this whole section here will be completely saturated in the root stimulator, and then I have 3 pots here that are ready to go, and I pre-made some holes in the pots with another stick. As you can see, there's a depression in the middle of each one of these, and I actually take the stimulator and I put a couple of globs right in the hole as well, so that basically as I'm inserting the stem into the soil, it's not wearing away all the stimulator that you put on. So that's what I'm going to do. And then these examples here, you can see you compact the soil around the stalk. You want to get rid of any air pockets that can be down in there, and do not water from the top. These pots will absorb water on their own, and there's also a hole in the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put water in the bottom, fill this about halfway up, and see how come back in about 20 minutes, half an hour, and see how saturated the soil is. Hopefully the soil all the way to the top is moist and you can see that everything's moist, and then I'll just leave it. I have some grow lights that I have in the back of the house, and I will place these around that, and maybe I'll just go back there real quick. So here we go. The back of the house, I have a couple grow lamps here, and you can see the seedlings are starting to take off, getting a little leggy in some instances. But anyways, so this is a gooseberry. I found the branch broken out there when I walked around the other day, and using the same method, these are 2 different stalks that I've placed in the soil. You can see one in the foreground, one in the background. But using the method I explained, you can see that some of these buds, 3 on the front anyways, are starting to open, one up at the top there and 2 kind of beside each other in the middle. And that's it. I mean, this, once it starts to leaf out, and I'm confident that it's going to survive, then maybe I'll transplant it into another pot with a little more soil and keep it. You know, you don't want it in direct sun because it'll dry it out, and the rate of survivability will diminish quite a bit if you have these things in the sun. But under a little grow light here for a few hours a day, I think it's been really helpful. And yeah, that's basically it. So I'm going to continue on. I'm going to do that with the rest of the branches that I have there at the table. Okay, so here we are back at the table. You can see the root simulator. I have a branch in there. I have saturated these ones up to where I want them to go in the soil line. As well as I said, I put a couple of the drops inside the soil, a couple globs in there. So there we go, 1, 2, 3, and then just compact the soil around. You don't want these to move, excuse me, you don't want these to move once they're starting to sprout their roots. You'll damage the roots, and then you could kill them, or they could just take do worse this year growing. But you want to compact the soil down so that there's no air bubbles in and around the stalk. That again will stop roots from growing. And yep, as I already said, pour some water in the bottom, let it soak up 20 minutes, half an hour. Check the top and make sure the soil is saturated, and keep an eye on them, keep them close to some light. Like I said, I prefer using the grow lights because it's just not as intense as the sun, it's not as hot, and I can get them started earlier inside. It's still below freezing today outside, so these wouldn't really be doing anything. But in a few days, hopefully there will be some little buds showing some green leaf that's going to come out. And I like doing it this way instead of taking my cuttings when there's already leaves on the plant. This way, as the roots grow, the plant itself can choose how many buds to push leaves out on, and will increase the rate of survival as well. Anyways, that's it for today. I hope this video wasn't too jumbly. I had to pause and break a few times to show you different things, but I wanted you to have all the information visually as well, so that you can go through this step by step yourself. Any questions, go ahead and put them in at the bottom in the comment section. I'll get back to you. And thanks again for watching the video, guys. Have a great day.